This episode of the Helping Healing Humor
Sons of Blunder
podcast is brought to you in partnership with ministryleague.com. We would love for more people to discover this show, so please rate and review us on iTunes or your podcast provider. Feel free to share on your social media and subscribe at benandtravis.com for the free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living.
Welcome in to the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis, Sons of Blunder version. I am very excited to talk about some of our failures today. Typically, I remember growing up and thinking of, Gary Gooch was our preacher at Jacksonburg, and he was just seemed put together. He just seemed like he never made any mistakes. And then I became a minister and I realized that's not true, right? It's not true. We all make mistakes. We all blow it. And a lot of us do that a lot of the time. So today we're going to be doing our first Sons of Blunder episode of the Triple H podcast, the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Ben, there's a biblical reference that we're kind of using as the background for this episode. Why don't you share that with us and give us your best shot on pronouncing that name?
Well, so, when we were considering our name for this whole thing, the Helping Healing Humor podcast, part of considering that name, this name came up, and we just couldn't not use it in some way. And so we've been trying to kind of find ways. And of course, the whole reason behind it is anytime, things go wrong in ministry or in life, we sort of feel like, we're right in the middle of that. So instead of being Sons of Thunder, which is what it's kind of meant to be like, we know about James and John, the brothers that were a part of the apostle team with Jesus. Mark chapter 3 and verse 17 is where that comes from. James, the son of Zebedee, and John, the brother of James, to whom they gave the name Boanerges. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Something like that.
Sure.
See, that's the whole Sons of Blunder. I don't even know how to pronounce it. So anyway, that's where it comes from, and that's the title is Sons of Thunder. So, but these guys were really good at messing up too. They had several moments. I figure that's why they got the Sons of Thunder name. They wanted to call down fire on the Samaritans, and there were some other times when they messed up. So anyway, these guys, that's kind of where we come up with the name for this. So we wanted to share our crazy mess ups, like when we can't say names in the Bible.
The crazy thing to me is how God can even use our blunders. Like people can be, I think there's examples of this, and Will, we're going to let you kick us off here in a minute with your failure. Your example that you want to give us.
Yes.
Yeah, but Jesus, God is able to use those. I was talking with my buddy Turner, and he sent me a video on this. I guess it was this past year on Pentecost, in this Roman pantheon, this great structure that's built at one point to worship these gods, these Greek gods. They're dropping rose petals from the ceiling, and it's just beautiful. And I was just like, wow, and I didn't know the history. He's an architect and all this stuff. And I was like, it's beautiful. And he's like, yeah, man, it's crazy how God can take, basically human blunder. These people were building this for another purpose, and yet here in the future, it's being used to praise God and honor Him. And he says, it's like Jesus comes flipping in the back door and says, hey, y'all remember me, and how He can redeem these things. And of course, in my mind, I just thought of a mid-90s WCW luchador with a mask flying in and dropping the elbow. But, sometimes God does those things, and He's able to take something that we think is just an absolute epic fail and do something awesome with it. So, that may not be the case with all of these examples that we're going to share today, but, life does go on, and, we get blessed with another opportunity. So, Will, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out maybe how God's going to use this one, which not saying that it's impossible, but we'll kind of see here. So my I may throw just two fails at you, just because of yesterday. I had a major fail. Have to throw that in, like literally less than 24 hours ago. My cousin Lucas was over at my house doing some renovation stuff in our kitchen. Things are going super smooth. Anytime my wife wants something done, she always calls Lucas because she knows that I can't do it. So that's the first part of this. And so I was just in the garage cleaning up some trash, super easy. And I went to put some stuff in the attic. And when I went up to the attic, I noticed that our attic door comes down in our garage. The spring, about an industrial spring about this big, or so if you're watching the video, maybe 12, 13 inches, had come off the track. And so I was like, well, shoot, how hard is it going to be to put this industrial spring back on this, ladder here?
The
It's a
talking to
great
yourself
question.
is the first
it's
thing.
like,
If you have to ask
can't-
that question, it's not going to end
I mean,
well.
it can't be this hard. It's like, been going to the gym. Let's see, show me stretch this spring out. So Lucas comes out there and we get the ladder folded up and pushed back up into the ceiling because it won't just lock back in because, of course, the spring's broken or the spring came off the hinge. So he pushes it back up there and I get the spring almost. I mean, it's like 2 centimeters away. And right when I almost go to hook it, it completely slips out of my hand and like compresses back towards me and back towards my left hand. And the moment that it does that, the end of the spring goes through my hand. And so I have a huge hole right between my index finger and my thumb in the web, and if you're on the video, you can kind of see where it's right in there. I won't give you the close-up shot because you can still see some of the fatty tissue, down in the hole. So I had to go get 3 stitches last night, had to get some shots, tetanus shot, all that good stuff, because I thought, how hard could it be to put a spring back on a little ladder? So that was definitely my big fail number 1. And what's so frustrating about the fail is it's not even a good story. You come to church and everybody goes, hey, what are the, why are there stitches on your hand? You go, oh man, I've got to make up some type of lie, to at least tell the youth group because this doesn't sound cool at all. And so that was kind of a big fail that just recently, maybe the Lord's timing is a whole lot better than what we think it is.
And what's crazy is you were at my house right before this happened,
Yeah.
and you came in, and I'm playing with, like a table saw and a reciprocating saw and a nail gun. And I asked you to stay and help, and you're like, I don't think I need to stay around all this stuff. I don't know how to do it. And then you go let a spring go through your hand.
A spring, and whoever thought the spring is actually sharp? So it's not sharp; it's actually dull. So there's a lot of force coming back on.
That dull hole coming through your hand is
So definitely, definitely my fail. But if I could give you one ministry fail that sticks out, I had just gotten hired as a youth minister. So we're having our first lock-in. Hate lock-ins, can't stand them now. Loved them then. So we're having our
There
first
is a time expiration date on lock-ins.
Yeah,
and
when you
mine
hit-
was about a decade ago.
Lock-ins in and of themselves our ministry fails. We probably should talk about that at length.
After the first one, I was done. I didn't want any more. So we're having our first lock-in, straight out of college, 22 years old, trying to be the cool guy. So I said, let's play hide and go seek through the building. Sure. Nobody's here. It'll be fun, whatever. And my competitive nature just grabbed a hold of me. So I want to win. So I find the star safety of the football team. And I said, hey, me and you'll be it. Let's go hide. Kind of like sardines, meet, hide and go seek. Let's see who can find us. So in my office, as a matter of fact, another attic door. So we climb up into the attic of the church. And he's wearing house shoes. And so I told him, super athletic guy, wonderful guy. If anybody could climb through the ceiling, it would be this dude. But he's got house shoes on. So we get up there, and of course, it's all 2x4s insulation. And I said, do not step off the 2x4. Stay on the 2x4s. That's the only way we can get to the other end of the building and just hide up here so that if anybody opens the door, they're not going to see us. He takes 2 steps, man. 2 steps straight through the drop ceiling of the foyer of our auditorium. And so the moment now that anyone walks into our building, they're going to see a huge hole right in the middle of the foyer. So he steps through, and the moment he steps through, one of the lifelong volunteers for the youth group turns the corner, and all they see is two legs in the middle of the ceiling, that are just falling straight through the ceiling. So needless to say, first big fail right there. And we had an elder man that he was one of those just drill sergeants when it came to taking care of the building. So of course I'm terrified. He's 85, ex-naval guy, all of that. And it's like the worst thing. So they had like a 3.5 hour singing the rest of the night. And me and two of the other volunteers found some towels, and we took some channel locks and redid the entire ceiling. And that elder to this day never found out about it. Never knew where it
until
was.
somebody sends this to him.
Yes. So for anybody,
So is it
that
just
knows-
ceiling tiles, or was it like sheetrock?
No. So it was a drop ceiling.
Okay, well that's good.
But it is hard what the little tiles sit in. Those little metal things, the kind of trays of it.
It bent that all.
Yeah,
to pieces.
it bent that all to pieces. So we had channel locks just trying to bend all of that back together. So
that's beautiful.
when I left Huntingdon after 4.5 years, I actually told all the elders except that one. I said, this is where the first night that I was here, we broke the ceiling. So
First night.
well, it was
Confession is good for the soul.
Yeah,
Confession
so
is good.
it was.
So
it was
if
interesting.
this is Huntington, right?
Yeah. It was
So if you go to
Huntington.
Huntington, send this to that elder just so.
Yeah, he's still there, man.
So-
He's still there
yeah.
and going. So
Still rocking.
he needs
Thank
to know
God.
this.
Thank God for volunteers, right? I
Yes.
mean, like youth group volunteers, you the real MVP. You the real MVP.
because the youth ministers are gonna screw it up, and it's gonna be on you to fix it.
Yep.
So
There you
definitely
go.
not one of my better moments. So I've no longer played hide and go seek or sardines in the ceiling anymore.
Oh, we've had some situations like that here at Highland Park. I mean, when I first started out, we played games and stuff like that, and we've put a few holes in walls. Some of them still partially there, but yeah,
we actually
knocked
had
a
maybe
water
from-
fountain
Yeah.
off of
we had a
its.
high school girl knock a water fountain off the wall.
Is
She
she
lowered
busy
the
on
boom.
Friday nights?
That's
I need some
right.
guards, and
Yeah.
I need some guards on the football team. Maybe a defensive tackle or two.
I
So
think she's ineligible now for high school.
ineligible. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But,
too
yeah,
bad.
into
Too bad.
college
Always
now,
need good
so.
blocking. All right. Well, I guess we'll go in. Beauty before age, right? Beauty before
right.
age. So I'll go next, and mine happened on the complete other side of the world. Okay. So in 2007. The barriers, right, convinced me to go to India and the Philippines and wherever else we hit along the way. It felt like we hit all the bases. And so we get to India. Never been on a plane before. So the first time I'm going from Nashville to Detroit, Detroit to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to New Delhi. And I'm jet lagged like nobody's business. And then we take a 24-hour train ride down to Bangalore, which is southern India. And they have us speaking, right? And we get to preach, get to teach. They're having basically a Bible college, people walking 150 miles to come and, get this certificate that they'd been to school. And, you're preaching and you got 2 or 3 people who are translating. So a 30-minute sermon, multiply that by how many people have to translate it, and they each have to take turns. But these people are so hungry, they're like, that's not long enough. Like, that's the crazy thing. Here it's like 25 minutes is too long. Over there, it's like, we walked 150 miles. If we don't get 3.5, 4 hours, we feel gypped, Well, they opened it up for Q&A, question and answer. And this guy raises his hand. He says, how do you convert Hindus to Christianity, right? Well, I'd never even met a Hindu, at least I didn't know it if I did. So I go into this big long speak, about Acts 17, Paul uses this, unknown God. And I go on and on, probably 20 minutes, And a guy by the name of P.R. Swami, the guy who runs the thing, walks down the middle aisle, comes up, he waits for me to finish. I sit down. He goes up to the mic and he says, leans in, it's the power of God, and sits down. Simple. simplicity, right? Simplicity. Sometimes
I'm sure
we
your
just
answer was great,
Muck it
though.
up. I'm sure it was.
I'm
It's
sure it
just
was
not
great.
as to the point. So
Just-
you know,
You just gave
I
the
remember
dirty
that.
water.
yes, yes. Also, be careful of the barriers because they will totally like. I was taking some peanut butter.
I've been on one.
Yeah, they will totally throw you under the bus. Not bad, you know. I didn't get left, obviously, but you know they were taking peanut butter to some people, and I didn't realize that peanut butter is not a acceptable thing to take across into some countries, and so I got held up quite a few times because they'd be like, "Hey, he's got peanut butter," you know, or something like
Bro's
that, or at
got
least
peanut butter now.
I think they did that, you know, because they would plan it on me, and then all of a sudden, the next place we stopped, they were taking it away from me, and I was like, okay, I see how it is.
We got a peanut butter snuggler here. Smuggler.
Yeah,
Snuggler.
Smuggler.
Snuggling
some
peanut butter.
Yes,
That's even
yes,
worse.
Yes. Well,
Smuggler.
you know, I think we will get to the senior member of our podcast, Ministry Fail, right after this message. What do you think of when I say school night dinners? Pretty sure you didn't think healthy, effortless, or relaxed. The back-to-school season is stressful under normal circumstances. Everyone has to readjust to keeping a schedule after a couple of months of the laid-back pace of summer. This year, the adjustment period will be even bigger shock to the system, since many of us have been home for almost 5 months due to the COVID-19 school closings last spring. The readjustment to the faster pace of the daily work and school grind will be stress-inducing for everyone, and new school guidelines like mandatory face masks, temperature scan stations, and social distancing practices may make little ones even more prone to anxiety, even if they don't say it out loud. This year it will be even more important for us as parents to be attentive to our kiddos as we get back to a semi-normal routine this fall, checking in to make sure that they are faring well mentally and emotionally, and helping them process all of the changes they will be experiencing. I know what you're thinking. That's easier said than done. There are so many urgent things that have to be dealt with every evening, like cooking dinner, packing lunches, doing laundry, and homework, that it's easy for the more important things like our kids' mental and emotional health to take a back seat.
Hi, Whitney, Travis's other half here. How about a week's worth of easy weeknight dinners for your family? We've done the planning for you. As a parent, the hours between the end of the school day and bedtime are precious. During the school year, our kids spend more waking hours with their teacher than they do with us. I don't know about you, but I don't want to waste the majority of that precious time in the kitchen. But I still want to provide my family with a healthy, tasty, and budget-friendly dinner. That's why we're giving you a meal plan with a week's worth of quick and easy, almost hands-free dinners for your family, complete with a grocery list. So you can take meal planning, shopping, and cooking off your to-do list. Now you have quality time to spend with your family. You can tend to the urgent and the important things and still have a relaxed, unhurried meal at the table with your family. Go to benandtravis.com/meal plan to sign up. We will send the meal plan and grocery list straight to your inbox.
All right, welcome back to the Helping Healing Humor podcast, Sons of Blunder edition. Obviously, Travis, Ben, Will is with us, and it is the senior member of the podcast crew's turn to share us his ministry fail. Ben, what you got for us?
Well, the bad thing about this is that I'm the oldest and I'm senile. I don't remember a lot of the things. As we talk, I remember more and more. But the one that kind of popped in my head is one, I guess, that I think about because it happened when I was a youth minister here. It seems like all the good stories happen to you when you're a youth minister. And that was that, so we were getting ready to go on this mission trip. So there's a mission trip theme here too, I think.
And mission trips with Highland Park never end. They end well, but the process
there's always stuff. Well, and you know the thing is, it's usually a bus, a bus or a van or something. And I could keep you all day telling you all the stories. There for a while, it was like, don't let Ben drive or be on your trip, or there's going to be something break down. That's pretty much true.
I think there's a Ben and Travis video, right?
There is. I was actually thinking
buses.
about that. Yeah,
I'm gonna put that link in the description.
And this might actually be the same trip. I think it is the same trip that the bus that Russell Smeltzer put diesel in the gas. No, put gas in the diesel bus that we have. And
So
so
you
we had
literally just threw him under the bus.
I did. I just threw Russell under the bus.
And he's one of our elders.
And
so this
yeah,
is great.
and we sat there for the longest waiting on somebody to come pump, drain it out and then put it in. And I remember it really well because Jackson was really small and was asking why the bus was peeing. So it was as he was watching it drain the diesel out of it. But anyway, that was on that same trip. We get up. I had called ahead to a hotel to stop at on the way up. And so I talked to them about what they had, what the rates were, and I said, okay, so I need double beds in all those rooms. Kind of went through this whole thing, and then I hung up. I said I'll call back, later and get them. So when I called back, I arranged the rooms, got everything set. We took off on the trip, and we had, I don't remember, probably 20-something people with us on this trip, and we were like needing probably 9 hotel rooms. I don't remember what it was, but when we get there, we start walking in the rooms, and there are king-size beds in all the rooms, and that was it. Like there was no double beds, no, nothing for everybody to spread out on, and we'd been driving for hours. Well, I was like, okay, whoever was in my room, they slept on the bed, and me and Jackson piled up in the floor of a nasty hotel room. But it didn't go over real well with the parents back home. They start calling and going, hey, we don't even have a bed to sleep on. We're, whatever. So anyway, needless to say, we hadn't arranged the rooms for the way home. And thankfully for Pat and Janet Moon took over and said, I'll arrange the hotels on the way back. She wasn't even on the trip, but she called ahead and said, I'm getting these hotel rooms for our kids. And so from that point on, the hotels got taken away from me. I was not which, to me, that's a ministry fail that works out in my favor.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have to do them anymore, and so I didn't have to work that out. And so from that point on, Mark Mathis did those for years for us, and arranged a lot of the bus trips and all that. So that was good. That plus the time that I arranged for us to go to Fall Creek Falls for our retreat, and it was like the old cabins at Maywood that had like the chicken mesh around the top and then like very thin boards around the bottom. That's what all these cabins look like at Fall Creek Falls. So once again, when those parents pulled in there, they were like, he has no idea how to arrange rooms for us. So I lost the starting job on arranging hotel rooms. And I'm
the starting job is not always a bad thing to lose. I agree with you. And once again, thank you to all those who bailed us out, from Will and his youth group volunteers to the people who are now organizing, the hotel rooms when Ben organized things. And then, of course, PR Swami, shout out to you. You, my homeboy. You're never going to hear this, or maybe you will. We've got 46 downloads in Ireland. So
who knows?
You're awesome.
Who knows?
You're awesome. Well, as we like to wrap up things, we tend to end with some fun questions, but since it's the three of us, we decided that we would try to bust out some awful jokes. Not awful in content, but awful in their dadness. And we're all dads, right? And so, we love a good dad joke, mainly because everyone else hates a good dad joke. So, which one of you guys want to go first? Anybody?
I get laughed at I get eye rolled all the time by my kids because I throw them out. But it was a really proud dad moment yesterday when Destin came in the room. She's like, I heard a bunch of terrible jokes yesterday, and I thought of you. And that was great. She was like, they're on. I don't remember. She saw them on somewhere, but it was all like Bible jokes, like Bible pickup lines. I think was what it was, and so. You must be from Jericho because I'm falling for you or something. I don't know. It's something like that. So,
nice.
Anyway, I think about that, but one of my favorites is I've here recently is I'll point to a tree and I tell the kids, I'm like, you need to be careful with that tree over there, and they're like, why? It's like, 'cause it is shady. So that's it.
So that's like preacher joke and dad joke, like all put together. Like that one's pretty rough.
That is rough. Sorry.
Pretty
Pretty
atrocious.
Travis, I
That one
got
sound-
in
Go
a
ahead.
fight with a snail yesterday. It was a real slugfest.
that was mine bad, and that one's okay. I don't
Yeah.
like the whole
Well-
the guy who lost, his whole left side of his body. He's all right now. Sorry.
Travis, bet you
You're-
can't work that one into a sermon.
I bet I can. That tree one, Ben, reminds me of one of my favorites. You're driving down the road, you drive by a cemetery, you point at the cemetery and you go, people are dying to get in there.
We did that way too much during college.
Oh, it was
Like,
terrible.
Way too
It was
much.
awesome.
Those
It
road
was awesome.
trips to go to different churches, different places. We would pass 1,000 of those things in Alabama and Tennessee and Kentucky, and that one got
Every
pulled
time.
out a lot.
That one's
so
kind of like
every
Andrew. A lot of people, dying to go see him.
it's true. His brother is.
He's a
Person.
mortician.
Yeah.
He's an undertaker. Just kind of fits.
I also like the
Speaking of
one
the
you could do. You could do peanuts. You could do pretzels. You could always,
That one's the
there were
go-to
two pretzels.
one.
Two pretzels walking down the road. One was a salted pretzel.
love it.
I always like to take the salt shaker, put the knife on it at the restaurant, and go assault with a deadly weapon.
This is terrible.
It's-
Hey, what about that
Amazing.
restaurant, Will, that you
they-
you talked about the other day?
They just opened up a new restaurant on the moon. Solid food, no atmosphere.
oh, we probably should stop
That's
right there. That's probably time to call it Dunzo. Dunzo.
Dunzo.
Anything else, guys? Y'all want to
Well,
talk about?
Well, I was wondering, Travis, since we're the sons of Blunder, I mean, that sounds an awful lot like a wrestling team. I mean, like Sons of Blunder wrestling team. So I
Yeah,
guess
I
there's
think
this curiosity, like, what would it be like if we were in a tag team match with somebody? Like, I don't know.
Well, first of all, we'd be the tag team champions of the world, brother. Let me tell you, Dudley boys, I don't care if you're the tag team of ministry. We're going to come down there. I'm going to take you to the top rope, and I'm going to powerbomb you through a table. And then old Ben's going to run down. He's going to take a chair, and he's going to bash your little head in. But if you want this right now, you can bring it. We'll be in the church auditorium waiting all day long, brother. All day long. We'll put the belts on the line. But I want you to know this right now. By the end of it, you'll be
Blunderstruck. Thanks for joining Ben, Travis, and Will on the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Make sure to go to benandtravis.com for more content and to download the free ebook 28 Days of Focused Living.